Hello, chefs. Good morning. We are back again. I am Noreen, the Phoenix Warrior Chef, here with the Dragon Warrior Chef German Lam and the Young Jedi Chef Isaiah Gerrard, and we will be your hosts for today's podcast. You are listening to a unique podcast where we will discuss tough yet real topics that need to be heard in the industry. In this podcast, you will hear the truth, real, raw, and unfiltered. Today, we are going to discuss what leading with love means and how we can center love in our careers and our lives. Each member of our team here has a unique background and story on how we found ourselves in the food industry. So, we wanted to take time to share how we picked our careers and how love got us to where we are today. So, to start things off, I want to just jump in and say, ask, what does leading with love mean to you personally in the kitchen, in teaching and mentoring, or in general in life? Isaiah, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I'll start us off. So I want to say probably being genuine and the love that you show, being genuine and caring is the biggest thing. Really, especially being in this industry, really, you have to really want to be here, and you have to really do it from the heart. It could in this industry, you could easily tell if you're here just for the paycheck or if you're there because you genuinely want to be there and because you genuinely love it. And I think if a lot of people started off and they led, with genuinely trying to take care of people, really trying to make people feel good, really trying to enhance their experience, really trying to, get to know them a little bit better. I feel like all the problems that we have in our workplace, all the problems that we have in really the world would be solved if people really did things because they truly cared. And actually, funny thing, I actually started at a hotel here in Vegas at the Wynn a few days ago, and in their culture, they talked a lot about culture. They talked about a lot about their people. And one thing they said about their culture is their first motto is genuinely care.
Mm.
All the people there, they do it because they want to be there. They do it because they truly love their job. They truly love, serving people. And that's why we're here. So I think if you start off with that and you start off with, kind of leading with your heart, leading with love, everybody will be much happier. Instead of complaining at your job, do something to make it more enjoyable, make a difference instead of spending time, arguing, spend time getting to know somebody. So I think that's probably the biggest thing that for me, what leading with love means is, just truly leading with your passion, leading with something that you want to wake up to every day, and then go from there.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think empathy is really big and really important. And I like that you mentioned that because I think it goes beyond just career, right? Having empathy for your coworkers, your friends, your families, your neighbors, it can go a really long way in mending a lot of issues that we have in our society. I think right now, honestly, we're very divided and we're very focused on looking at our differences instead of building on each other's strengths. And that carries into every part, of our lives, not just a career, not just the food industry. So I like that you brought that up because it's important and it becomes something that we put on the back burner. Um, and it's something that we need to think about a little bit more, reflect on more. So I like that point, Isaiah.
Yeah,
Chef
thank
Lamb, what does leading with love mean to you?
Well, before you can lead with love, right, you always need a mentor because your mindset is goose egg, it's empty. And the first one start off with is starts from the home.
Mm,
I look at my parents and they were amazing chefs, and every meal that we had was beautiful, was 5 star, was omakase. Whatever ingredients they had, it was a tasting menu. And what I mean by that is they worked long days, you know, and suddenly, as a parent, to nurture your children and you see how they approach it, then to me, that is the number one person love where love comes from.
mm,
And from there, you really understand how to develop it, how to build on it, and how to share it. And that is something, you know, in our industry right now, yeah, the world right now sucks. You know, people are like, I don't know why, but they are. And I go, our industry, it's about families.
Mm.
It's about culture. It's about gender. It's about everything that you can imagine, because that is how we eat. That's how we share. That's how we repair. You know, that's how we get stronger. So in a lot of ways, you know, the cooking part is the easiest part, you
It
know,
is.
because, you know, for me, I go, hey, I was mentored at the Ritz-Carlton Boston Hotel, you know, 1996. You know, the hotel doesn't exist anymore. But when I went there, they didn't teach me love. They taught me how to become a classical French chef. You know, they taught me techniques, preparation methods, you know. But my parents taught me what love is. So when you go into that environment, now it really becomes beautiful, because everyone around you, do they have that? No, they don't have that. It's pretty sad. You know, I mean, that's one thing about being a parent. Now, all parents and all kids are equal. You know, some of them grow up, they don't have the love, and suddenly that's why they become, you know, a hollow manager, a hollow person. And that's reality right there, right? Because for us, in this podcast, I always say is creating a system that every individual comes into the industry and they become iconic, whether it's the front of the house or whether it's the back of the house, or whether it's, you know, education. That is the goal for each individual, you know? So it's not about how do I feel or see or what am I going to do? No, it starts at home.
It
Mhm.
does. Oh, it does. I like that you mentioned like family dinner time or family meal times. That's something that was very important to me growing up. I was very lucky that we were able to center that at least a couple times a week. And, sitting across from someone, enjoying a meal, no phone. I always had a rule, no phone at the table, whether it's at home or out, and just having that connection. You learn about the people that you're sitting across from, and that's going back to building that love, finding the love that already exists in the family, building the empathy and seeing things from different perspectives. And I really enjoy that. But I will take kind of a different view of what leading with love looks like for me. I think when I thought about this question when I was writing this up, is for me, especially in this time of my life, it's more showing love to myself and being a little bit more selfish in like taking care of myself, conditioning myself, like Chef Lam tells us to do. Really good piece of advice, because it's very important to have a good structure under you, a good foundation. And something we used to say in healthcare all the time, especially during COVID, we learned this the hard way. If you're not taking care of yourself, you can't take care of other people. You can't fill from an empty glass. So you have to take time to fill your own glass. And that is love. And it's hard if you're a people pleaser like me, which a lot of people in hospitality are. That's what we like to do, is serve other people. You have to serve yourself. And so that we have empathy and we have love for other people, but we have to have it for ourselves. Forgive yourself for your mistakes, push yourself to be better, give yourself some discipline, find yourself a good structure. That's kind of what it looks like to me, and it's something I'm working on, but it can be difficult. It just takes time, and it's very important.
Yeah, Noreen, I couldn't agree with you more, and you as well, Chef Lam. And you can kind of tell, like you said, Chef, the people that grew up with love in their house and the people that didn't. That's why you have all these massive events in life. You have all the people that do bad things. And it's not necessarily because they're bad people, but it's because they were never shown love. Like you said, they didn't get the opportunity to have a mentor in their life. They didn't get the opportunity to have somebody come into their life that actually genuinely, really wants them to do good and really cares. That's why Chef Lam has been such a big part in being both me and Noreen's life. Thank you, Chef, because you're there every week, you're there every day, you're persistent. Yeah, you're persistent. You're always, you really care and to get nothing out of it for yourself. And we need more people really like that in the world. If there were more people like you, Chef, like there would be half the problems in the world would already be eliminated. So I think just also noticing that and being that person for somebody else that doesn't have it, I think is important too. Because, since we are able to have that, it's important for us not to judge other people and instead go into their life and help them out, instead of, just being there for them so they could be good and be that to somebody else as well. So I think that's super important, Chef Lam. And then Noreen, like you said, just filling your cup first so you could help fill others. I think oftentimes we forget to take care of ourselves first, and that could lead us to not feeling good, and then in turn, even though it might be unintentional, we might treat somebody else wrong because we don't feel good ourselves. So I think that's super important. Make sure we feel good. Make sure we have that discipline. Take care of ourselves. Stay in the gym, feed ourselves right. That way we could feed others and fill others' cups as well. So thanks for that, Noreen.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I like that each of us kind of has a different idea, still centered around human connection. It's something we're lacking in today's society. Now, sometimes it's not as easy to lead with love, especially in high pressure environments, especially kitchens, teaching, mentoring can be very difficult. So, is there a time where you didn't lead with love, and what did you learn from it?
Oh, oh, that's a good question. Uh, a time where I didn't lead with love. I mean, I would say there's definitely times where you could tell on my face or with my attitude that, I wasn't feeling the best myself, and people all around could sense that, you know what I mean? People they guess that everybody. And I had this one time, I guess, when I was behind the bar, working behind the bar, and it was super busy. And people were yelling from everywhere, requesting stuff, all that other stuff. And there was this table that had walked, or these guests that have walked to their table without paying. And then the bartender started yelling at me. And he was like, "Oh, why'd you let them leave?" And then in my head, I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I wasn't even focused on that. I was doing other things. And then he was like, next time, don't let them leave. And then I was like, okay, that's all. I was like, all right. Because in my head, I was like, I had nothing to do with this. And then there's a guest sitting there, and she was like, next time, don't just say okay to him. You actually need to do what he said. I'm like, it kind of tested
Oh,
me. Like, I was like, it threw me for a loop. But in those moments, you kind of just, you gotta be hospitable. You have to be professional, and you have to just put a smile on your face and then just move on. So I think stuff like that, and just seeing examples in the world where people get aggravated over small things or lose their cool over small things that really should not mean more than loving, should not mean more than caring. If you do something wrong, that shouldn't lead to an argument, that shouldn't lead to something big. It should just be a simple conversation and guidance, and that's it. So I feel that's the biggest problem we have in society today is people, they have short tempers, but I think
mm.
if we want to see a change, we have to be patient and we have to just guide and mentor. And I think that's the best way to do it.
No, absolutely. I really love that point that like I think people have a short fuse. I think that's very true. And there are a lot of things that go into feeding that short fuse, short attention span, no patience. Patience can take us a long way. Patience with each other, patience with ourselves. That was a good story.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that that's funny that the customer was sitting there and was like,
Yeah.
"Hey."
Yeah. I was like, that's crazy. She was like, next time you need to say more than just okay. Yeah. I was like, wow. But
Oh
yeah,
wow,
but
that cracked.
that's what you're always on stage, you're always performing, especially in your job. Somebody's always watching you.
Yes.
So it's important to always be on your best game, and always just keep a smile on your face. And like I said, I even had guests tell me before, if I'm not smiling, they're like, smile, you're not yourself, they could tell. So it's important to, even if you may not be feeling the best, just give that to the guest, give the best to the guest. I think is the best way
Yeah.
to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes smiling, allowing yourself to smile and like laugh with your coworkers puts you in a better mood.
Yes.
When they say laughter is the best medicine, it
Hey.
really is. So sometimes like putting that aside and just, giving yourself that little bit of peace and a little funny
Mhm.
will brighten your mood. There are a lot of days I go into work not feeling great, didn't get a lot of sleep, had a lot of stress, a lot of personal things going on. And you see your team and your, coworkers come in, everyone has their personality. I really like my team. We get along very well. And, someone cracks a joke and all of a sudden, we're all laughing and it's not really a big deal anymore. And that's really, a good strength in having a good team and having good rapport with your coworkers. For a lot of us, it's not just a job. And I know a lot of people that say, oh, it's just a job, it's whatever. But we spend 40, 50, 60 hours a week at that just job. So if you're miserable there, you don't like your coworkers, you don't want to talk to anyone, it's not going to put you in a better place at the end of the month, at the end of the year. And that's something that we have to look towards, like larger outlook. Because on those rough days, they'll be there for you. They'll keep you in check, that's for sure. But they'll be there for you as well. And that's important.
No, it's super important. And I think that, like you said, the people you work around and the people you work with make a big difference. If you're able to laugh with them and joke with them and really have a good time and they bring you up, that's the best thing ever.
Yeah, it is. Chef Lam, what's your take?
You know what? I'm listening to you and think about, you start the journey as a, young Jedi, and now, I'm a Yoda. And you look at transformation, you look at mistakes, you look at systems, you look at how people are. But there's one thing I understood, from martial arts is, body, mind, spirit, and food. And that really tells you, each time you practice, if those four areas are not aligned as one, then you're going to get goose egg. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. The technique, the method, preparation, they're not going to flow like water. And especially in our industry, when you talk about pressure and stress is not from us. Pressure and stress is from suddenly, the chef doesn't have enough cooks on hand. And now, whether it's the garde banquets, working on the line, pastry, you could feel that stress, you could feel that tension that, and suddenly you make mistakes. So that something's not on you. It's on, the chef that suddenly did not give you support. So I realized that of cooking, yeah, you are going to break, you are going to burn out, you are going to have mental because no one taught you how to rebuild, or better yet, how to create firewalls before you went into the game. So to me, I was fortunate because I knew that, like I couldn't go out with my peers and party drinking, because the next day, guess what? I'm going to cut my finger, and I don't want that to happen. I don't want to burn something. I don't want something, the chef's calling my name in the kitchen, like, hey, what happened here? And I'm like, and you knew why you made a mistake, because it's not at work, it's outside of work. And you did not prepare yourself before. So that's why, like right now, no one's teaching that. Like no one's really saying, hey, don't beat yourself. Because if you don't beat yourself, next thing you know, you're gonna be on the management team, and you move up. The next thing you know, you're executive chef, or the front of the house, from a host to general manager to president to owner. So there's a lot at stake at your journey when someone say to you, hey, discipline structure is the reward for you.
Yeah, and I love what you said, Chef Lemon. It's what you do outside of work that impacts you at work as well. because a lot of people don't think about that. If you go out and, like you said, party till 3, 4 in the morning, up, and then you wake up over, and then you can't even show up to work properly, it makes a difference. So I think a lot of people need to take that into consideration, and if you want to be at the best, truly the best at what you do, you can't be like everybody else. You have to miss out on some things. You have to, make those sacrifices, and that's what love is. At the end of the day, what we're talking about, if you have love for something like that, if you have love for your craft, you'll do whatever it takes to make it happen. You'll put in those sacrifices. You'll have a little more discipline than most other people, because you could do something that most other people can't do. And at the end of the day, you'll get rewarded for it greatly in the end. So it just
Yeah,
takes sacrifice right now, but then once you put in that sacrifice, you'll be able to enjoy life a little more later. So
that's right. That's right. It's like kind of the idea of putting off the, reaping rewards later instead of instant gratification. And you know, I like that you mentioned, both of you, like outside of work, what it's important to take care of yourself and to be on your P's and Q's. And, you guys both know I was not feeling very well earlier this week. And turns out a quarter, if not a third, even half the resort is like sick. So there's some bug going around, viral pneumonia. I don't know what it is. I always do the same thing when I come in and I see someone sick. I'm like, stay away from me. I don't want to get sick. I'm going to wash my hands. Don't touch me, because I don't want to get sick, because that doesn't put me in the best, I can't put my best foot forward. And unfortunately, I did get sick, and that's okay. It happens, right? That's part of living in a human population. Shouldn't feel bad about it. But, it was 24, 48 hours. I was completely fine. And one of my coworkers was like, "How do you bounce back after 24 hours?" And I was like, it's simple for me, at least. I sleep my 8 hours. When I'm sick, a little bit more, drink lots of fluids, tea with honey, taking care of myself, eating nutritious meals, resting. For me, that's what works. And it's also just making sure I take care of myself every day leading up to it. You can't be like on the brink of no sleep. You haven't eaten a meal. You're not hydrated. You're not having, your vitamins and minerals. And then you get sick and you want to bounce back in 24 hours. That's not going to happen. You have to take care of yourself so you can go to work the day after and after and after. Take care of your family, take care of yourself. Go out and enjoy your days off instead of, hanging out in bed sick all day because you weren't taking care of yourself. So having that discipline and structure, it's important. And delaying the instant gratification, you have to care about your future self, not just yourself right now.
No, I love that point, Noreen. And I think everybody should take a piece of advice from you, and that the true way to recover, and even with your story, Chef Lam, is by daily care of yourself. It's already ingrained in your routines. If you naturally have a healthy body and you naturally, are always taking care of yourself, like you said, it'll be 24, 48 hours, you'll be good, because it's something you're already naturally doing. So your body has a strong recovery system already. So I think that's one of the most important things, and even something I need to work on myself, just naturally getting all my sleep, naturally working on my health. And I think once you do that and you put yourself first, like in that way, you'll be good, like you said, and it'll be natural, fast recovery.
Yeah. And asking for help when you need it. Some people, I myself have chronic illnesses. So not everything is just straightforward. Drink some water and go to sleep and you'll be fine. Sometimes it is that simple, but other times it's working with a team to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, going to the doctor, the dentist, seeking out care in your local community from friends and family. That's also part of it. And that's also part of taking care of yourself. And, as an adult, you're responsible for that. No one's going to come save you if you're not going to save yourself. So having that discipline and structure, but also knowing I need some help here. I need to figure out what's going on, whether, that's your personal health or something at work, asking for help can also be, important.
Mm-hmm.
And we learn through a lot of challenges, asking for help. We learn from other people, but that goes back to our idea of empathy and having love. you know. And speaking of all of the journeys with empathy and love and using these different tools to bring you forward, I want to switch gears just a little bit and talk a little bit more about career path. So I think that's something that a lot of people are struggling to find their way when there's so many different options, which is wonderful, and a lot of online jobs, but can be hard to find a path that fits you. So for you guys, I want to ask, when did you first feel called to your current path? Was it like a single moment, a slow realization? How did that look? What did that look like for you?
I would say for me it was when I was young. I was maybe like 10 or 12 years old, and I was used to help my mom in the kitchen. It's just something I always loved to do, after school, just jump in there in the kitchen, help her prepare dinner. It was something that was fun for me, something that took my mind off of schoolwork. I always felt like loved in the kitchen. I always felt that love from my mom. I always you know, felt wanted in there, you know what I mean? So it's just something that just kind of naturally drew me. And then once I found out that I was able to do it as a career, I just took off with it. And I was like, okay, this is actually what I want to do. Before I didn't realize that you could be a chef, be a cook. But then once I realized that that was possible, I was like, this is what I want to dedicate my life to. And I did it, and then it just kind of took off from there. It was just something natural for me. Like I always, even before that, I always loved to serve people. I always loved to help people out. Anybody in the street. Like I remember one time I was young, and I wrote a letter, and I kept it in my wallet. And I said, the next time I see somebody that really needs it, like on the street or whatever, I'm gonna give this to them. And I put some money in there. And I was like, I'm gonna give this to him. And I remember one day I stopped on the side of the street and I gave it to this guy, and he was like, you know what? This letter means more to me than even the money. He was like, thank you so much for
Mhm.
caring. So I think I've always had that serving, like I've always had that serving, type of person and personality. And for me, it just makes me even happier when I could help somebody out. When you see the smile on their face, when you see that it means so much to them, that does more to me than anything really. And just being able to do that through food and do something that I love to do that makes other people feel good as well, is just something that naturally came to me, and what I desire to do every day. And even if it's not through food, even if it's just through life, even if it's simply opening the door for somebody or whatever it is, it makes a big difference. And that's why I love this industry, because you have the ability to impact every single person you come in contact with, either through your work or through how you treat people. So I think that's really what drew me to the industry, and what keeps me in and keeps me going when times are tough. When I'm tired, I know that I'm making somebody's day and making them feel better. So that's why I love this industry, and why I would continue to do it for life.
Yeah. Hospitality is really beautiful, and that
Yeah,
there's so many opportunities to connect and share and serve, and feels good on both ends. And I appreciate that as well. It's something I really love about the industry. And glad you found your way to the food industry and hospitality.
yeah, definitely. I think that's what drives us all, is just really wanting to serve people, and like you said, just doing it not just for myself, but for how we make people feel. Because there's not really a better feeling in the world than when somebody eats your food and they close their eyes and they're just in love with it. Like they're in heaven right there. So that's the best feeling for me. So that's why I do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Chef Lamb,
Well, you know what? Looking at the
where did you
time,
start? How'd you get here? In our lot, we have like 10 minutes left, but I do want to hear your story because you've been in the industry for a long time. So was it like a boom moment? I'm in this. This is what I want to do. I want to be a chef. Or
well, I wanted to be electronic engineer, and then suddenly, I hated it, and I go, I love working with my hands, but then I realized being a chef, it's like being a martial art master. You have students. Someone's going to teach you, and then eventually you're going to be the master. So, mentoring and mentee, my whole thing throughout this journey, I go, wow, there's the reason why I love, mentoring people, because it's like martial arts. Good
Mm,
technique, amazing student. Bad technique, the student goes, what happened? So to me, it's like I look at it, the foundation of of cooking. You know, the love is the easiest thing because like the body, mind, spirit, and food, they all have to connect. And the thing is, no one teaches you how to connect. So that is the beauty of love, right? Someone has to show you, what does love really mean? Is it a compliment, or is it something to make someone better, you know? And meaning, oh, I'm sorry, but what you're doing is unacceptable. And that person could crumble and cry, and suddenly then, nobody wants to deal with that, right? So to me, as a chef, I go, you know what? I love it because guess what? I teach someone how to develop their body, mind, spirit, and food. And you need these 4 pillars for the rest of your life. So whether you wear the white jacket or not, but then guess what? You know how to nurture your families. And now for your kids, you're teaching them a life skill that most people don't have. And that means they could go into the supermarket where there is canned goods, frozen goods, fresh goods. In a short period of time, they make something and suddenly they go, that is so beautiful. You know, that is how, this is my expression. So in one way, this is my style, right? Freestyle. So when you call it love, freestyle, it's whatever. And now when you make it and you gift it, and that person's gonna go, you made this for me? And they go like, yeah, I made this for you. But besides that, you can make it better because I'm gonna teach you.
Yeah, no, I love that point. Yeah, I know we have not much time left, so go for it, Noreen.
Yeah, no, I love that. It's something I share with my sister and teaching her how to cook. It's really special. And for me, you guys know I'm like a career changer. I had a couple different gigs that I tried, and for me, it's very slow realization. I've always loved food and cooking and helping people ever since I was like 7, 8, 9. That's really when I started to learn to cook. I learned it from my grandma first, and my mom, my dad, both very good cooks. Cooked a lot of home meals, a lot of traditional meals. Always been interested in it. But with the background my family had, just being like first American born, um, family of immigrants, working in a kitchen's not the traditional story of success. It doesn't, they leave their home countries and work really hard for professional degrees for job stability. And for them, hospitality is something that you do when you can't find job stability and you can't find professional jobs. It's not something that's a passion. For them, passion was like, I don't understand what that means. It's a job. You need money. Passion's not really important. You can have passion at home. And took me a long time after like 8, 9 years really working in healthcare to realize I'm not going to have empathy for my patients anymore because I'm already starting to get tired of the job because I'm not as passionate as I thought. And it really took time to get up there. And there was a moment when I was applying to medical school, and it was just the personal statement essay. Why do you want to be a physician? And I couldn't answer the question. I was like, I don't know, actually. I like helping people. There are a million jobs where you can help people. Why this job specifically? And that was when I was like, what am I doing? Like, life is short. I need to do something I actually care about. We work so many hours, and I don't want my job to just be a job. I want it to be a career. I want to care about it. I want it to be something that evolves as I get older. I got to just pick something that I really like, that I really love to do. And it's going to be hard. I think that realization is what pulls people away from picking a passion. But that's where you reap the most rewards as you challenge yourself. So found myself in the food industry, and I'm going to let it involve even more. And, I love that.
Yeah, and I think it all starts with courage. If you didn't have that courage to, stand up to what your family's traditions were, if you didn't have that courage to, do what you really wanted to do, you wouldn't be here with us today. So I think really taking the courage to do something that's different, taking the courage to do something where they might, criticize you. They might have bad things to say. They might not support you. But if you never take that step, if you let people's negative words affect you, you'll never step into your full potential. So I think that's the biggest thing with me, and I think why I've been able to, I still have a long, long way to go, but why, what I've been able to do is because I don't care, if people tell me I can't, I'm gonna prove to them that I can and I will. So I think that's the biggest thing for me. And that's a true testament to everything that we're doing. You, Noreen, and Chef Lam is we're doing something that people said can't be done. People, don't want to do, and we're doing it. We're gonna make it happen. So I think that's the biggest thing, and it's all because of you guys. So thank you guys so much for really being a part of this journey because you don't have to be, but you want to be. So it means a lot. So thank you guys.
Oh, well, thank you for taking us along on the journey. We're going to prove people wrong that we can do it. And we're going to show them what success looks like and happiness in that success, not empty success.
We are. That's right.
And we have just a couple minutes left. So I want to just really quickly end with what's some advice you would give to someone who loves food and loves the hospitality industry, but they're not really sure where they fit in the industry?
Mm. I would say just try out whatever you could try out, get a job somewhere. If you don't like it, switch departments. If you don't like it, try something new, but just jump in there. Just see what you like, see what you don't like. And that's the best way to do it. Just experiment, and it's never too late to change. And you're a living testament to that. So,
Oh yeah, never too late, never too late.
right.
I would say let curiosity drive you. Just be curious, allow yourself to explore different things and change it up, like Isaiah said, until you find something that makes you excited to be there.
Exactly.
Chef Lamb, a little bit last bit of advice.
Well, think of it, you have a cup in your water and it's filled, and you're in the industry, culinary hospitality industry. Just pour it. Wherever it leads, just flow it. You know what I mean? Because to me, that's why I love the saying, become water. Let it just flow and you'll find your destination. That is something you're not mapping it out, but you're trusting your gut and you're trusting your skills and talents. And that really challenges you instead of, front of house, back of the house, out of the business, because there are too many questions and you don't have the answers. So
Mm.
that's why I say, follow the water.
Follow the water. Let time reveal the answers to your questions. That's all you can do. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me today. This call will not only impact the ones listening, but will also impact those that are connected. Here on this call, we've made history and helped lead the way for our future. Thank you for listening, and see you all on the next podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.